Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's currently January of 2024 and we've been starting seeds. Actually, I've been starting seeds all the way back into November. A lot of people are getting into their 2024 seed starting, and a lot of people use seed trays like this. These are the Windstrip trays from Neversink. And these are amazing because you can fit a lot of seeds in a small amount of space. The problem, of course, is that each of these cells is pretty small. This is a 50-cell tray. Each of these cells is pretty small, so there's not a whole lot of soil for your plants to get started in. And once those plants run out of nutrients, they're going to get stunted, and it's very hard for them to recover. So it would be great if you could start your plants in something larger like this. So this is probably like a pint size container, and this is fantastic because there's so much additional soil that the plants can use. The problem is that it's so much bigger that it takes up a lot of space. So I was actually using these down on the ground, and so I had tons and tons of pots all over the ground, and my dog would come through and she would trample all the pots, knock them all over, knock a bunch of dirt everywhere, kill all my seedlings. So I really wanted to start my plants in here, but I needed a place to do it. And so what I decided to do is just start building these really cheap, really fast shelves out of pallets. I get all these pallets for free because I pick up pallets of produce from the coolers. I feed the produce to my goats. So I get all these pallets for free, and I didn't really know what to do with them. So I just held on to them, had giant stacks of pallets everywhere. And so I was like, well, wait a second, I need shelves. Let me just grab a bunch of pallets, throw them together, and make some cheap shelves that way. 8 or 10 of these things, so now I have all the space that I could ever want for all my plant starts, which is amazing. And then it's kind of cool. I put this in the greenhouse. I actually had to build this in the greenhouse because it's too big to fit it through the door. So this one I literally just built it in place. That means that this thing is kind of stuck in here unless I want to disassemble it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grow trellising beans on the sides of this, and then I can have the trellising beans growing up and over. So during the summertime when I'm not starting a whole bunch of seeds, I'll actually have all this space available for a bean trellis. Will still get used in the summer, not just so it isn't just like a single use type of thing. This is my first build, and the whole point of this is to make something quick, easy, just super quick and dirty, where you just throw it together. Don't worry if it's pretty, don't worry if it's, looks professionally done or anything, just like get it done and get something that you can use. And so all I did is I took a couple of pallets, I laid them long ways like this, and then I literally just stuck a pallet on top, and I screwed some screws in the sides here. And then what I did is I did some pallet busting, and I got some pieces from another pallet, and I screwed them into the edges here. And this thing is super sturdy with these braces here. You can literally put hundreds of pounds of weight on here. Just putting these braces on here is all that it takes to hold these things together to where it's really, really sturdy. So that's sort of like my first design. And this works, this really works. So don't overthink it. Just throw some pallets together and just get yourself some shelving. This right here is kind of an improved version. With this one, we put some horizontal supports right here. So one here, and then we put these pallets vertical like this. So instead of long way like this, we put the pallets vertically like this. We put these support pieces right here so that we can set this pallet in between. And this is a big improvement because it actually gives you some additional options down here, and I'll show you those additional options here in the coming segment. This is what you can do if you choose to do this method where you have the pallet inset with support beam going across where it sets in like this. And so if this is like a potting bench, then you could put your supplies down here, your empty pots or your soil or maybe your seeds down on that bottom shelf, and then this could be your workspace up here where you're doing all your seeds. This is pretty cool, but this one in the back. So this is the same idea. I've got a support piece here, inset to where I can set this pallet where it's flush with the top level here. And then I also have another support piece down here where I have my second shelf. So this is one of those two shelf systems. And the cool thing about this is that I didn't secure this pallet, so you can actually slide it in and out. And so you've got a shelf that actually slides. it's not a nice smooth motion. It's something you don't want to have to do often. But if you need to kind of get in there and move stuff around, you can slide this out, do your thing, and then you can slide it back in. Because this is not screwed down to this support piece, it's just resting on top. You still need to make sure that these two pallets on the side are tied together nicely to make sure that the pallet's nice and stable. So to do that, I just screwed in one little brace that goes all the way from here over to here, and that ties these pallets on the side together at the base, so they're not going to start separating out. And so that gives us the ability to slide this both directions as far as we want, because we can set this down low enough to where it's not going to be in the way of this shelf, that we can slide either direction. So there's that design. And this is another thing I've been doing with free pallets, is I'm making, some people call this a hotbed. I'm not using it for the heat. I'm just using it as a place to grow, as a place to grow, you know, veggies and trees and stuff.
We've got leaves,
all I did here is I took some super junky pallets. Literally, these are some of the junkiest pallets that I have. And then I just screwed in some braces here in the corner, all the way around. And I then just screwed these really junky pallets into these braces to make this little square piece. And you'll notice that I didn't put anything around the boundaries. I didn't put any cardboard, I didn't put any fabric, weed cloth, anything like that. So what I'm doing with this is kind of like a Johnson Sioux bioreactor, where this is all really nicely aerated because it's got all the air that it can access from the sides. I don't have any tubes going down the middle, but I kind of think that's overkill. With the Johnson Sioux bioreactor, they put the tubes down the middle so that everything has access to plenty of oxygen. I'm not doing that, but I bet you we're still going to get some really, really nice compost out of this, even though I'm not putting all the tubes in, because again, it has all that access to the air from all the outside edges of the container. So this is like super, super junky pallets. These are 100% free. I got the wood chips for free. I just dumped them in here with a couple of wheelbarrow fulls at a time. And now I've got this growing area, and then this is slowly going to turn to compost over time. What's even better is that we'll also get worms that are going to come up from the ground. So the worms are going to come up from the ground, they'll come into these wood chips, and they're actually going to start breaking this down, turning it into amazing worm castings. And so we'll get a growing space, we'll get some amazing compost, we'll get a worm farm where we spend $0 on worms, and when all is said and done, we'll have a ton of amazing worm castings and also a bunch of worms that we can then put to use other places in the garden. Alright, so this is a demonstration of what I was talking about earlier. I've got these nice big pots. This is some broccoli here that we're going to transplant here pretty soon. Got some tomatoes, spinach. So all this takes up a lot of space. So it's nice that these plants have all this space to grow in. But if you want to start your plants in these really large containers, then you need a lot of space for them because, you know, it's not like cell trays where each cell is this little tiny thing. So you can see I've got all my containers laid out, and I put down some chicken wire on top. And the chicken wire is there so that the plant pots don't fall into the slats, into these little holes between the slats. So put that chicken wire down, and it gives you this big, huge area to work with. Now another cool thing is down below it has all this space. So this space, it's winter, it's currently January 23rd or something like that. And so it's pretty cold at night. So I've put these two big buckets of water down here, and those are there to help moderate the temperature at nighttime. It gathers all the warmth during the day, and then at nighttime it'll release all that warmth back into the atmosphere and help these seedlings stay warm during the really cool winter days that we're in. In addition to that, it also captures excess water. So when I water up here, and any water that falls off of these that doesn't actually soak into the soil will just go straight down into those containers, and I can reuse that going forward. I have a cat for some reason, appeared out of nowhere. But anyway, so yeah, I just want to finish up there and show you this really cool thing. They just go together so quickly. They're so easy to make, and they're dirt cheap, and they're extremely sturdy. Like we've been talking about, they're extremely sturdy. They're very versatile. So I just wanted to share that with everybody and give you some ideas if you're, starting your plant starts this spring, or maybe you want to use these during the summer growing season or whatever. Just wanted to show you this idea and, give you some possibility, give you some things you can do at your own place to improve your 2024 growing season. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. That's all there is to it, guys. You can load these up with however much you want, and they will withstand that weight. Big old masses of wet soil, they'll do just fine. So now what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of wire cloth over the top of this, and that'll be there to prevent things from slipping down into these holes. And that's pretty much it.